Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's talk about 3 trends that I'm noticing for very successful nonfiction authors. I think it's really important when we look at success that we make a very clear definition. Now, before I do that, everybody has their own definition of what success is going to look like to them. But for the sake of this video, what I'm noticing and I'm going to define success as is people that are writing books and then they are achieving more revenue in their business and making a greater impact on the world than they were prior to their book being written. All right, so that's what we're going to use as this definition. I'm going to share with you the 3 trends that I'm seeing, and this comes from my experience as someone who just wrote my 4th book recently, as well as the dozens of authors that we help write their book every single day. And so the first trend that I'm noticing in successful nonfiction authors is that once you finish your book, you will have an elevated sense of confidence, and this will directly impact the bottom line of your business. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean by this, and that's this. When you come into writing a book, you either come in with this question of who am I to write this book, or you come in with this idea of like, look, I'm pretty successful, but can I actually turn this into a book? Or you go, well, who's going to read this book? Or you're going to say, you know what, I may have a very successful business, but a book's something that I haven't done yet. This is the first time I'm trying this. And so no matter what stage your business is already in, having a book comes with limiting beliefs and comes with doubts and worries and wondering, do you really need to have this book? But the minute that you finish this book, you have a newfound sense of confidence. And here's how this confidence comes into play when we talk about directly impacting the bottom line is this. When you go through the book, you have more confidence. Why? Because now you've actually done it. Now you have 120, 200 pages of tangible proof that you are the expert on your topic. Not only have you proved it to yourself, which is the most important, but now you're like, look, everybody, I got my book complete. That's what it's all about, okay? And so when you have more confidence, that leads to you speaking with more conviction. You are more sure. You are not saying, this might be good for you. You're like, I know this can help you if you fall into this category. And that shifts the mindset from both you, and also it shifts the mindset and how people receive you, because you are coming from a place of authority now, a place of credibility, a place of confidence, and people will see that, and that's going to lead to the final C, which is the conversion side of it. Okay. So you write a book, you have more confidence. Once you have that confidence, you're speaking with more conviction. And when you have more conviction, your audience responds with higher conversion rates. This is one of the trends that we are seeing. And I'll give you an example. We had one client specifically who I'm thinking in my mind, he thought he had confidence, but then he writes his book and his confidence skyrocketed. That confidence allowed him to start speaking more to his ideal prospects of like, this is exactly what I offer and this is how I do it. And here's my book for you to see. That got him booked on stages, that got him getting bulk purchase orders, and that allowed him to have a higher conversion rate. So one of the trends that I'm noticing is that when you actually finish your book, you have a newfound sense of confidence. That is like true confidence about your expertise around the work that you do. And that's ultimately impacting the bottom line. The next trend that I'm noticing is that the people that have the most success talk about their book in 3 main ways. Number 1 is people that have a lot of success with their initial book launch are the people that talk about their book before it's done being completed. So this is the people that are talking about it as it's happening. Okay, I did this with my 4th book, Big Idea to Bestseller, and we brought in tens of thousands of dollars in revenue before the book was even being released. Why? Because people saw the process, they saw me staying accountable, they saw that I knew what I was doing, and therefore they felt that I was someone that could get them the result they want. This is a really, really great thing if you want to build awareness, but you don't know what to talk about during social media time. So while it's happening is one of the key times to talk about your book. Then the second core time to talk about your book is that launch, that pre-launch and that launch. And that's when you're in marketing mode. That's when you're getting hyped. That's when you're doing your podcast tour. That's when you're going to the local news stations. That's when you're calling on the favors. That's when you're building your launch team. This is when you're really talking about your book. This is where most people talk about their book. They get really excited for the launch. They try to drive all the sales. They do a couple podcasts. But I want you to see about it is like this. You talk about your book while it's happening. Now you have, okay, the launch date set. Let's talk about the launch. We're promoting the launch. The launch week happens. This is where you go gung-ho. This is where you pull out all the stops. And this is where, here's the big secret here, okay? A lot of people will talk about their book and it'll do okay for this. But what you want to do is you want to talk about your book probably 3 to 5 times more often than you think you need to. Why? Because what we feel we're repeating a ton of times, often other people aren't seeing it every single time. Factor that in with how many times most people take before they're willing to actually make a purchase. You need to amplify your message and talk about it even more and more. And then the third way that you need to talk about your book in order to have success is you need to talk about your book for months and months after the initial launch. Because here's what happens. Most people will have a good launch, depending on how you define good. They will have an influx of sales or downloads. And then after a week, you will see a sharp decline and it'll peter off and you'll say, wait a sec. Why am I not selling any more books? Well, how many times have you talked about your book? Okay. So after the launch is a really critical time to talk about your book. So the second trend, to recap, those that are having a lot of success with nonfiction books are talking about their book in 3 ways: while they're writing it, pre-launch and launch, and then finally after the launch to continuously talk about the book and show people what it is that they just created. Okay. Before we go on to the next one. All right. Before we go on to the next one, I just want you to know this. If you are going to spend time, spend money, spend energy creating a book that has the power to change your life and change so many other people's lives, then don't you owe it to yourself to talk about it? If you really are that good, which I think you are, if you really are that good, don't you owe it to yourself to share your message with the world? Don't you owe it to yourself to tell people that your book's done? You just spent all this time, money, and energy on it, right? Your story deserves to be heard. And now that your book's written, you got to talk about it. And we are seeing that people that continuously talk about it get more momentum and they're achieving more success with their books. And then this is the third trend. And this one might be a little bit contradictory to what you think about books and bringing in revenue. And that's this. Those that are seeing the most success are often not focusing on the metric of book sales. They are actually focusing on a different metric. All right. And so the trend here is this: book sales are not the primary focus in these authors that are having a ton of success. And therefore, it should not be the ultimate goal in your book launch or book marketing plan. Now, it can be very helpful for your launch. Okay. And we show you exactly how to do that in Big Idea to Bestseller. But the people that are having the most success are the ones that are using their book as a way to get in front of decision makers so that they can get hired to speak, people to buy their courses, people to buy their physical products, people to buy their coaching, people to come to their live event, people to ask for investment deals. Okay. So I want to give you an example on this. I give away books all of the time. All right. I give away books all the time. I recently had someone, I gave my book away. They said, Jake, this is awesome. I'm ready to write my book. I skimmed through your book. You have the answers I'm looking for. Let's book a call to chat. Okay. What I'm also noticing is that our clients who are having a lot of success, they're giving their books away. And then the people that they're giving their books to are introducing them to event hosts, people that can bring them in to speak. All right. And this is really, really powerful. Okay. Another way that this is really important is if I focus on book sales, I'd miss out on giving books to people in my ideal market. So for example, I just gave 40 books to a group of people in my ideal market. I gave them to the host distributed it then. And then he sung my praises. Well, guess what that led to? It led to multiple people reaching out. They were like, okay, I got his book. I've been wanting to write a book. Let me just see what he's all about. We get on the call and boom, now they're signing up to work with us in one of our programs. If I focused on the book sale and not the impact of what's possible from the book, I would be leaving thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. And so here are the 3 trends to come full circle here with this episode. Number one of the trends I'm seeing in successful authors is that when you finish your book, you have more confidence, and that confidence leads to conversions. So the trend here is that you got to finish your book because it's going to give you more confidence and it's going to impact the bottom line. The second trend that I'm seeing is that those who are having a lot of success talk about their book in three ways: while they're writing it, during the launch, and then after the launch, they keep talking about it. And then the third trend that I'm seeing in successful authors is they are not entirely focused on book sales as their main focus. They are instead focused on what the book can do for them in terms of the higher ticket item. Those are some of the trends that I'm seeing. If you're noticing anything, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, ask me on Instagram at Jake Kelfer. I'm always loving engaging with you guys and learning more about where you're at in the book process and how I can show you how to use your book. Now, if you want more tips like this and you want to get just a quick motivational, uplifting text to inspire you to keep writing your book or start writing your book, then go ahead and text the word bestseller to 661-669-7363. Again, 661-669-7363. But that's what I got for you today. These are the trends. And if you want to be a successful author, jump on these trends. But it all starts with writing your book. Understanding that your book is the starting place to the dream that you want to achieve. Let's go.